Welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm excited to possibly introduce to you, or maybe it's a familiar face. This is Phil Anderson, who is the Libertarian candidate for governor here in Wisconsin and formerly ran for U.S. Senate. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jessa.
Glad to get to catch up a little bit and talk to you about getting to announce, really, at least on our show, your run for governor. So what made you decide to run?
Well, I've lived in Wisconsin my whole life, and my ancestors, if you will, go back generations and generations. My great-grandfather founded a church in Beloit that's still there on Milwaukee Road, Central Christian Church. I've had family members that have owned businesses in Wisconsin. As I said, I've lived here my whole life, and I believe that the people of Wisconsin deserve something more, or actually something less, from their state government. Our government's become so overbearing, so much a vehicle for cronyism and party politics and gerrymandering, all the things that we could talk about if we had more time, that the people of Wisconsin, the people that I grew up with, the people that I interact with now, deserve something better than that from their government.
Well said, and you're right, if we had more time, we could dive into these topics more thoroughly, but what would you say are the main themes of the campaign?
We have three main themes, and I would like to point out that I'm running with our candidate for Lieutenant Governor, Patrick Baird. We're running as a team to bring more expertise, more energy to our campaign. The Lieutenant Governor position is important. It's one that's not used very well by our current governor or by previous governors, but we need, if we want to really address the issues in Wisconsin that need to be addressed, we need a lot of people working on this project. So our three main themes are more local control. The people in Wisconsin at the county level, the city level, neighborhood, family, individual have not only the right, but the ability to make decisions for themselves. So we want to devolve state control over the things that they have control over back to those smaller units of government, back to neighborhoods, individuals, and families. Secondly, we want to grow Wisconsin from within. The idea that we need to go out and spend billions of dollars attracting new businesses is sort of a slap in the face to the businesses that exist in Wisconsin already, especially the small businesses that work every day and try to pay taxes and try to make a profit, try to hire more employees, try to contribute to their communities. These businesses don't get the same kind of deal that Foxconn or any other company that's been working with the WEDC get. And that's just not fair, and it's not good for Wisconsin. And last of all, we're going to repeal the personal income tax. As opposed to other taxes, the personal income tax is basically a blank check to state government. That's not earmarked for anything in particular. So they use that money to spend it on whatever, in this case, the Republican majority, in the past and probably in the future, a Democratic majority, want to spend it on, or whoever they want to reward with it. Other taxes are more designed to go to specific things like roads or schools or whatever, and we want to roll those back as well. But the personal income tax is something that we can get rid of right away. Other states have done it, and we're going to take the bold action of freeing people in Wisconsin from that tax.
Well said, and I find this potentially key timing for a libertarian to step into this role. For folks at home, you hit on some of the basic elements already, but who aren't familiar specifically with a libertarian, how is it the main components of how it's different from Democrats or Republicans?
Well, in a philosophical sense, and I don't want to get too far into the weeds here, but we believe that people have the right to live their lives as they choose, as long as they don't interfere with other people's right to do the same thing. That's how we were all raised. That's how we were taught as kids to get along in the home with our siblings, in the classroom, on the playground. This is a basic way that adults should behave as well. But on a more practical note, libertarians are totally against the idea that money should have an influence in politics in the way that it does. The people that represent us in government should be representing us, not a party structure, not campaign donors, not a national party. They should be representing the interests and well-being of the people who elected them. And that is something that libertarianism fully supports and what we stand for running for governor and lieutenant governor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to point out that, again, I certainly remember you from your U.S. Senate campaign. Anything that you learned from that campaign that you're going to transfer to running for governor?
Well, I learned a lot about how people in Wisconsin in general feel about state government and about, even to a certain extent, their local government. When I was campaigning for United States Senate, I appeared in numerous forums, a lot of times without my opponents there, but in front of school organizations or smaller civic organizations. And even the Republicans and Democrats who represented some of the smaller districts, particularly away from Madison and away from Milwaukee, were being called to account for the fact that they'd fallen into this Madison mentality of they come here and they become an expert and they become distanced from the people that they're supposed to be representing. This is something that resonates across Wisconsin, and I think, although our politics and Donald Trump's politics are not the same by a long shot, I think that's what resonated and why Trump won Wisconsin, because people wanted change. They didn't want the experts in Madison or Washington to look down from their high seat and say, we know what's best for you. They know what's best for them. They make decisions every day about what's best for them and their families and their neighborhoods and their communities. And we represent that. And that really resonated with a lot of people in Wisconsin. And we just need more of an opportunity to present that.
Wow. I have so many more questions because it stems so many more topics and questions, but really fascinating to chat with you. Again, this is Phil Anderson, who is running for governor, and we're so glad to have you on the program today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Jessa.
Thank you for tuning in. That's it for Talk of the Town. We'll see you next time.